Hi, I'm Madonna Guy, and you're here with the Natural Alternative. Welcome. I'm a little disturbed this morning because something that I've been hearing about for several years is now under investigation by the HHS. Specifically, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has released a statement this morning. And what they have found is that an investigation by the Department of Health and Human Services uncovered problems with a federally funded organization that procures organs, including the organization of organ donation from patients still showing signs of life, said the agency on 21st of July. The Health Resources and Services Administration, part of the HHS, investigated the organisation's conduct and found clear negligence, HHS said in a statement. The agency reviewed 351 cases where organ donation was authorised, but ultimately not completed, and found that in 103 cases, patients showed neurological signs such as pain or had no cardiac time of death, marked down where procurement was started. Now, I started hearing about this a couple of years ago, and my husband and I both removed from our license. Here in Australia, you have to tick a box to say, yes, I agree to have my organs harvested. I always believed that was a really good thing if I was in a car accident or a motorbike accident or something like that. And then in the last few years here in Australia, there's been a couple of weird things. For a start, they have been refusing to allow organ transplants for people unvaccinated in Australia. So I thought that was very negligent. And they've also started looking at legislation where they can bypass your wishes and take your organs even if you have said no. So there's all sorts of things going on with this organ harvesting. So then I had a look at Twitter because there was a particular clip that was the one that made me remove my wishes to have my organs utilized if I was on the chopping block and someone could live, if my organs were given. And I'll show you that one now in case you haven't seen it. It's really quite disturbing, this whole thing to me. So this was the first clip I ever saw that made me wonder about organ harvesting. Let's have a listen.
Brain death is a lie. So people don't even realize it's a lie anymore. But it's been a lie from the beginning, continues to be a lie. They invented brain death mainly to get organs, but then also so they don't waste money on treating people who aren't ever going to get a job, who are just going to live and not die. And so to see what brain death is, it's primarily a way to get organs. You cannot get any organs from a cadaver. Every organ that's transplanted is a healthy organ, and you can only get healthy organs from living persons. You cannot get any organs for transplant from a cadaver. The things I'm telling you is that you are not allowed to hear, because if you hear it, you will be upset, as all three of you are upset. And rightly so, you should be upset. Whose organs do they want? Certainly from all children, but especially the people who are 16 to 30. And their life is in jeopardy. If they're unconscious and on a ventilator, they're going to get their organs. Everybody who's called brain dead has a beating heart, circulation, and respiration. If they didn't have that, you wouldn't have to call them brain dead. You could call them dead.
So that's pretty terrifying. And I'll show you a couple of little clips, just little clips of people who have been through things, that are nurses and mothers and people who have been through a few things. So I find this whole thing really quite atrocious. And the fact that organ harvesting is such a big business. I was listening to Alex Jones this morning. He was saying the average amount of money they get for organ harvesting a body is $300,000 up to $500,000.
I've asked you not to take my son. Also, as for my son, would have not wanted his organs removed. All of us, all parents, are here. We said no. I need them to come in and see. My son did not want that eye time when he was mine. If not, he's not giving them. Yeah. I've asked you not to take my.
So that's just one lady where they've asked them not to take her son's organs, and the nurse is simply ignoring that and saying, well, it's on his driver's license, so we have the right. Hospitals are harvesting organs when patients showed signs of life, HHS investigation shows. This one here talks about the fact that you don't even need to be dead. A coroner just needs to think you are close enough to death in order to harvest your organs. Here's another one from July 17. Hospitals are cashing in by bending the definition of brain death. Here's how it works. They clamp blood flow to the brain, then restart the heart using NRP, normothermic regional perfusion. Organs stay fresh, but the body is still warm, heart still beating. Legally, they call this person brain dead so they can harvest every viable organ from someone arguably still alive. Doctors and ethicists say this is a loophole that violates the dead donor rule. One wrong signature, one tragic accident, and you're worth more dead than alive. A push for more organ transplants is putting donors at risk. Patients across the US have endured rushed or premature attempts to retrieve their organs. Some were gasping, crying, or showing signs of life. Here's another one.
Told us they were doing this today. He has siblings. They're not going to get to say goodbye. They never told us they were doing this today. Never. Never. For money. For money. For money. This is all about money. This is all about money.
Give him a big hug and kiss.
We're doing a victory walk.
It's an honor walk.
An honor walk. And y'all just notified us 3 hours ago. The family only gets a 3-hour notice.
There's that same nurse again. She was the same one in the other room. So she just says, well, he had it on his driver's license. Look at all the masked people around.
If this was y'all, wouldn't y'all want more than 3-hour notice of this? Don't we have the right to more than a 3-hour notice? 3 hours.
It's so awful.
You cannot take an organ from a dead body, from a cadaver. Within 3 minutes of no oxygen, you're going to start damaging brain cells, and within 5 minutes, you're going to have cellular death. You have got to be alive to take your organs. That's the end of it. You're not dead. There's no such thing as brain death. If your heart is beating, if you are metabolizing fluids, if you are metabolizing a liquid feed, a soya feed, which they give you, and you're having bowel movements, you are not dead. You're not dead. It's a lie. They're talking about the brain stem, where you've got the hypothalamus, the center that controls your blood pressure, your heartbeat, but the rest, you're not dead. It's a lie. It was a lie that was manufactured so that they could do their eugenics, taking organs from one person to the next. Who makes the best organ donor? Under 30, with a beating heart, a circulation, and ideally on a ventilator. When is the decision made to take your organs? Very early on, probably before you are even aware what they are doing. Because the treatment to preserve your organs is very different to the treatment to save your life. In the UK, on the 22nd of May, everybody became an organ donor unless you opt out. People do not know. So the minute that you make that 999 phone call, everything's up there on the screen. They know who you are. This is why they want you in a digital system. Your entire medical history is going to be fed through AI, how much tax you pay, what you're worth to the system. And that's going to come up with whether you're a yay or a nay. Are you getting life-saving treatment, or are you on end-of-life care? What age are you? Are you then for organ donor? This is very important that people know this. And so you have to ask, what is this? It's eugenics.
So interesting times. I'm glad that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is speaking out about it. I've never heard anyone politically say anything. Trump has reforms happening within the hospital systems along with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. at the moment. So let's hope this shines more of a light on the atrocities that are happening worldwide, why they want the CBDC, why they want digital currency, why they want to get rid of cash, why they want us all in their system, ticked up, hooked up. You get put into the donor system unless you say no. And even then, like that black boy earlier on whose mother was crying because they only gave her 3 hours notice before they were going to harvest his organs. I've heard stories where people have removed their names from the registry, but it doesn't get removed. So Alex Jones did a session this morning as well, well worth a look. And we've just got to be aware of these things. So take care. Love you. Bye.